Hey everyone, Codeth here, and we just got the patch notes for the PTR for Season 4 of Diablo 4. This is going to be a shorter video. I've got a longer one going more into detail, but this is just going to be a summary of the highlights that I saw. So April 2nd through April 9th, this is when the PTR is going to be available for PC Battle.net users. So if you're on console or Steam, you won't be able to participate. But if you want to watch someone test things out, I'll be streaming this live on Twitch. The link to my channel below in the description. Alright, itemization changes. Reduced number of affixes on Legendary, 3 on Legendaries and 2 on Rares. Smaller pool of more potent affixes. More relevant affixes. World Tier 3 will only drop sacred items. And then World Tier 4 will only drop ancestral items. Affix values are tuned up to be punchier. Here's the new affixes coming out. Resource per second, resource on kill, lucky hit, apply vulnerable, life per hit, and basic skill ranks. Then we've got miscellaneous updates here. Legendary items dropped from enemy level 95 and up are always 925 item power. So it says legendary items. This doesn't include rares, right? So we probably, if we want to get more rares, we still have to do tier 90 and up Nightmare Dungeons to get the guaranteed amount, right? So it's still pretty cool for legendaries. Gems are simpler, more useful, have a much longer crafting tail. Gems now have core stats, and more conditional bonuses have been simplified. Salvage, crafting, and rewards have all been tuned. Significantly reduced item drop rates. Less time sorting, more time slaying. Good change here. Item rerolling gold cost capped when enchanting. I wonder what the cap is. We'll find out. Material removal and consolidation. Forgotten Souls can now be attained from Whispers and are now a global rare drop from Elites. So Whispers and potentially Elites. More sources of Forgotten Souls. Uniques appear earlier, some starting in Tier 1 and 2. All uniques can drop in World Tier 3. Uber uniques can start dropping monster level 55. Here's the new crafting system, Tempering. This new system will allow you to add affixes to your items at the blacksmith through a new reusable item that can drop from most content in the game called Temper Manuals. So here's a picture of what the tempering system looks like. Here's their item here. Here's the manuals. You can apply 2 affixes. You've got durability here. They have 5 remaining currently. These are categorized like the Codex of Power, Resource, Mobility, etc. Once gained, you retain these for unlimited use. So that's cool. Each manual contains a handful of affixes. You're able to attach 1 at a time. Affixes can be rerolled up to the item's temper reroll limit. So as you saw earlier, they had 5 tempers remaining. Ancestral items can have 2 tempered affixes from different categories. So here's another look at it. They got 30% bone spirit size on this temper. Alright, and then greater affixes. Only appearing on ancestral legendary unique items, these are more powerful versions of normal affixes with a 1.5x multiplier on the affix's maximum roll. An item with a greater affix will be immediately obvious with a unique audio cue as well as a 1 up to a 4 next to the item name indicating on how many affixes are greater. Example, Helm Ancestral 2. This would have 2 added affixes that were greater. Each affix on an item has a chance to be greater in World Tier 3 and 4. Players cannot enchant into a greater. They can only be found. Alright, then Masterworking. Instead of upgrading is changing over to Masterworking. It's a late game crafting system to upgrade items using materials gathered from the pit. Improves the value of your current affixes. There are 12 upgrade ranks. Every 4 ranks a single affix is random or massively upgraded. This is by random too. Random affix. You cannot select which one. Other ranks slightly increase the value of other affixes. So while you're leveling it, you're going to get all of them are going to slightly increase. And then randomly every 4 ranks, one of them is going to get like a massive upgrade. So here's what the Masterworking looks like here. So you got your materials, Masterwork complete. And Codex of Power updates. This is exciting. All legendary aspects now appear in the Codex of Power. Highest roll legendaries you salvage will be stored. Legendary affix ranged increased based on item tier, normal, sacred, ancestral. Most legendary affix ranges have been increased. Curious to see those changes there. UI has been revamped. Here's what it looks like. So you got your search here, your filter, keyword search. You've got your type of affix, or aspect. You've got all, defensive, offensive, resource, utility, and mobility. Pretty cool changes there. And then the Helltide, we've got some Helltide changes here. As you battle through the Helltides, you generate threat. How much will be determined by the difficulty of monster and how often you are securing tortured gifts within the Helltide. Dying will reset your threat. There are 3 Helltide threat tiers, with each increasing the danger and frequency of monster ambushes. At tier 3, you'll become Hellmarked. Achieving maximum threat will initiate a brief ambush frenzy of maximum enemy density. The ambush will end with a final Hellborn spawn, an immensely powerful agent of hell, resurrected from the tortured souls of Sanctuary's most powerful champions. There are 5 unique variants representing each class in Diablo 4. So like the Bloodseekers from Season 2. Upon activating the Hellborn ambush, your threat will reset. So here's a picture of it right here. There's your meter. A cursed ritual. So this is something else that they're adding in the Helltide. Baneful hearts can primarily be earned through opening tortured gift chests and can be used at the accursed ritual location. So this is what the location is going to look like. Pretty creepy. I like it. A scene of shocking gore. Deposit 3 baneful hearts to begin the ritual. So this is kind of like the current season mechanic where you summon the Herald of Malphus using elemental cores, and then similar to the Blood Harvest in Season 2. So this will be nice to get a group together and just keep tossing these in, right? Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. World Tier 1 and 2 adjustments to get the players into the thick of Helltides much earlier. The overall character journey. These adjustments help make Helltide more fun and rewarding at Tier 1 and 2. So right now, Helltide aren't available in Tier 1 and 2, but they're going to be. But there's going to be some changes in Tier 1 and 2 for it. So all tortured gifts are now mystery chests, and there's going to be no roaming bosses or ambient meteors. Also, less monster density compared to Tier 3 and 4. So this will be cool, though. You'll be able to do Helltides in Tier 1 and 2. Should be interesting. Alright, here's the new endgame activity coming out, the Pit of Artificers. Upon entering World Tier 4, you'll receive a priority quest to complete a Tier 46 Nightmare Dungeon. Upon completion, you'll begin to collect Rune Shard during endgame activities. Collect enough Rune Shard to ultimately activate the obelisk in Kergar. So here's a picture of the portal right there. Pretty sweet. Activating the obelisk will send you to the pit. Your goal will be to slay enough monsters before 10-minute timer runs out. Each player death removes time from the clock. First death removes 30 seconds, second 60, third and all subsequent deaths will remove 90 seconds. Here's another image right here. Let you guys check it out. If you slay enough monsters, a portal will appear, taking you to the boss's arena. So similar to like AOZ, you got to fill up the meter before the clock runs out, you know, so you're kind of like racing it. Killing a boss before the timer expires will grant you masterworking materials and unlocks the next tier of the pit. So you got to beat the timer on the boss as well. Killing the boss 4 to 6 minutes to spare grants you additional tier. 6 minutes to spare grants you 2 additional tier unlocks. The pit has hundreds of tiers of difficulty. If the mastery timer expires before you finish running through the pit, you'll still receive loot, but won't receive any masterworking materials. The pit can be undertaken with groups up to 4, with the player who opened the pit receiving the lion's share of materials. Only player who opened the pit has a chance to receive materials used to summon Tormented Echoes. So these are going to be the level 200 bosses. So boss ladder updates. Here we've got Endariel. Echo of Endariel joins the ladder in our Season 4 PTR. The same bracket as her brother Duriel. Same uber unique drop rate. She's going to do a mix of shadow, fire, lightning, and poison damage. Summoning parts can be acquired from Beast in the Ice and Lord's Ear. Tormented Echoes of all ladder bosses can be summoned with Stygian Stones, obtained from deep within the pit. So you got to get the Stygian Stones in the pit, as well as the crafting materials, and then you can summon or not the summon materials. Then you can summon whichever Tormented Echo you want. Stygian Stones are needed along with increased amount of summoning materials. So there we go right there. More rewards, though. Tormented Echoes will be level 200. All item drops are going to be 925. Defeating your first Tormented Echo drops 1 Resplendent Spark. So these are what you use if you haven't been around in Season 3. Resplendent Sharks, or Sparks, I keep calling them Sharks. These you can use. You need 4 of them. You can craft an Uber of your choice. So you can now salvage duplicate Ubers or ones you don't think you're going to use, and you'll get a spark for each one. And when you get 4, you can craft an Uber of your choice. And yeah, so that's the gist of the PTR stuff coming out in the new mechanic for Season 4. Let's briefly go over the new items and the class changes. So Tyrael's Might, as you saw, here's the new Uber unique. It's kind of got like a artillery shrine effect here. Yen's Blessing. Casting a skill has a 20 to 30% chance to cast non-mobility. Non-ultimate skill that is currently on cooldown. This effect can only occur once every 12 seconds. See, those are boots right there. 2 new legendary aspects. Frosty Strides. While you're below 45 to 60% life, Evade freezes close enemies for cold damage and applies vulnerable for 3 seconds. Concussive Strikes, here's a lucky hit one. Damaging an enemy has a 20% chance to daze them for 2 seconds. And you deal increased damage to dazed enemies. And onto the Barbarian, we got 2 new unique items here. Ariet's Bearing. This is going to be for the Ancients here. Twin Strikes. We've got some unique gloves for double swing builds. Pretty cool. New aspect here for Dust Devil. Druids got Earthbreaker. New unique ring for Landslide. And some unique boots here called Wild Heart Hunger for shapeshifting damage. This will be interesting. New aspect here for Maul. Necromancer's got unique items. We got a unique amulet called Ebon Piercer for Blight. Then Crewer's Embrace for Blood Surge. Unique gloves. New aspect here, Aphotic. So this is going to be for Skeletal Priests. Empower your Skeletal Warriors to deal shadow damage, so summon buff here. Rogues, these 2 unique items seem pretty sick. So Scoundrel's Kiss, unique ring for Rapid Fire. It's going to give you exploding arrows that deal increased damage. Saboteur's Signet. Flurry's going to have a chance to release stun grenades. This seems pretty sick. So Flurry and Rapid Fire. Then we got a Barrage aspect here. High Velocity. Barrage arrows now pierce through 1 enemy and has increased attack speed. Sorcerer. This one I'm looking forward to trying out too. Fractured Winterglass. It's a unique amulet. Casting Frozen Orb has a chance to spawn random conjuration when it explodes. Then Lucky Hit. Your conjurations have a chance to launch a Frozen Orb at nearby enemies. So I could see this like chaining off each other back and forth, back and forth. It sounds fun. Then Flame Weaver. Casting Firebolt through your firewall causes it to split to 4 bolts, dealing increased damage. So we're wondering if you can be crafting a bunch of firewalls and then just like, you know, chain it even more. So just like litter your screen with firebolts after that. We'll see though. We'll see. Probably going to crash my computer, but we'll find out. Legendary aspects. Tenacious Destruction. You'll deal increased damage if you have no defensive skills on your action bar. So no teleport, no ice armor, no flame shield. Interesting. Flamethrower's aspect. Incinerate splits into 3 beams. Seems kind of cool. Okay, we got some balance updates. Banished Lord Talisman nerf from 80 to 120 to 20 to 60. Oof. Yeah, that one hurts. To Balt's Will, 20 to 40 to 10 to 20. Damage persists for 1 second longer after being unstoppable. Yeah, huge nerfs here. Oof. Disobedience nerf as well. Armor change to 25 to 40%. It's currently up to 66 right now, I believe. Yeah, a few changes here for aspects. Bold Chieftains can now be used by Barbs and Druids. Needle Flare applies thorns to minions as well. Necromancer, Barbarian, Druid, and Sorcerer companions now receive 100% of the player attributes. So this also accounts for conjurations. That's exciting. And let's see here. Barbarian The innate damage reduction has been removed. Yeah, charge, nerf. Power charge, cooldown reduction, nerfed. Hota, nerfed. No more increased damage, now it's increased crit chance. Yeah, that one's a doozy there. A little buff for Rend here. Call of the Ancients buff, kick buff. Here's some of the passive changes here. Polearm buff. Two-handed mace is getting buffed, and two-handed axe expertise is getting nerfed. Martial, cooldown reduction. Blood Rage nerf here for the damage roll berserking. Caps at 30%. Crusher, overpower nerf. Oof. Yeah. Earthstriker, there's a nerf here. 35 to 50 to 15 to 30. Wind Slasher, a lot of Dust Devil changes here. So it's like, this might be the season of the Dust Devil. Could be interesting. Zurath, it's not mentioned here, but rogues are going to be able to use it too. Druid's getting some Spirit Boon, some underutilized Spirit Boon increases here, some buffs. Claw buff, Maul buff, Pulverize, slight buff here in the stun duration. Shred is getting buffed. Debilitating Roars, now categorized as Shout. Petrify, we got a little buff here as well. Should be interesting. Lacerate buff. Passive buffs here all around here. As you can see, Call of the Wild, Quick Shift, Heightened Senses, Clarity. Some changes here to Changeling's Debt, Unsatiated, Blurred Beast, damage increase. Night Howler, a Raw Might increase here. Shepherd, now Wrath skills, get increased damage from companions. Mingled change here. Now we're just in Werebear form, you get Spirit. Unique items, Flesh Renders getting a little bit of a buff, damage increase, and then instead of just doing Debilitating Roar or Blood Howl, you just have to cast a defensive skill. Tracker, here's the Paragon, damage increase. Poison effect, damage increase, damage increase. Yeah, so overall, Druid's got some nice damage increases here. Necromancer, some Blight, some Blood Mist changes, Golem, Decompose, a lot of changes here. Army of the Dead. So there's going to be a lot of summon changes here, summon buffs. You might see a lot of minion builds. Yeah. I go over these changes in a the longer video if you want more detail, but yeah, overall, nice upgrades, or buffs to summons. A lot of aspect changes here too. Unique items, Ring of Mendel. This is interesting too. I'm excited for this. So instead of a lucky hit, now it's guaranteed every 6 attack. Control is changing here. Increased minion damage. Instead of this whole 10% if they're chilled or slowed, 10% stun, now it's just crowd controlled. So nice buff there for control. So overall, nice buffs to the Necromancer, minions, a little bit of a Shadow and Blood. Rogue changes. We got changes to Inner Sight, Preparation, a Flurry damage increase. Victimize passive, chance to proc increased. Got Exploit weakness, damage buff. Chip, damage buff here. Encircling Blades aspect, we got a buff. Trickster, damage buff. Yeah, grenade skill, a lot of grenade stuff here. So maybe Flurry grenade build, we'll see. This will be pretty cool though. But overall, seems like Rogue's got some decent buffs here. A Band of Trickery, cooldown reduction. Sorcerer, mastery skills are now considered core skills, so like Blizzard and Meteor. Frost Nova enchant buff, Frost Bolt enchant buff, a little slightly. Flame Shield changes. Frozen Orb buff. Travel distance now controllable. Damage buff. Explosion deals damage while healthy instead of being cast above mana. Greater Frozen Orb buff here. Vulnerable chance increased. Ice Armor. This is an exciting change for me. Mana regen increased. And then While Ice Armor is active, you reduce cooldown by 2 seconds for every 50 mana you spend, so I'm curious to see if you can have like almost permanent uptime with this. We'll have to find out. Or you got Ice Armor while active, periodically chill close enemies for 20% and deal increased damage to frozen enemies. So yeah, this is going to be interesting. Very cool. Shimmering, Frost Nova change here, Flame Shield. Now you can have you'll stun them when Flame Shield ends. Instead of having a mana cost reduction, you'll be able to stun them with a guaranteed crit. Teleport is now changing, so before you had your teleport cooldowns decreased per each enemy hit. This is going to go on an aspect now. And now you're getting the aspect instead. So you got the movement speed after teleporting. So these are like a swapping, pretty much. Supreme Deep Freeze applies Bonneval. Hydra buff here. Lightning Spear buff. Ice Shards buff. Charged Bullet buff. Incinerate buff. Elemental Attunement. We got all these passives here that are getting buffed as well. Gonna be cool to see. Lots of aspect changes here in buffs. Items as well. Winter Glyph. Little buff there. Item rarity drop chances have been adjusted after level 28. Majority, it's like 80% roughly, of gear dropped is not legendary will be rare. So less blue items and like just white items in general after level 28. Item power now increases every 5 levels after 50 instead of a linear scale. We got elixir updates. All weak, strong, and potent elixirs have been removed and replaced with the following more powerful versions which are available at level 50. So I won't go over these elixirs, but we got some new ones. This one seems really cool to me. We got a mobility elixir now, elixir of momentum. After killing an enemy, increase movement speed by 3% for 5 seconds. This effect stacks up to 15 times. See, I was kind of asking for like a movement speed elixir, but yeah, this is cool. Good stuff, good stuff. Then we got some user interface stuff and some user experience changes. We can now zoom out more. Crafting materials now have rarities associated with them. You'll be able to drop with control click on the keyboard. That's pretty nice. You can search in your stash based on item power. Trials. You'll now be guaranteed a unique item in your little caches at the end. Mutterlock chest. I don't know if you've ever seen those. They're sometimes in Nightmare Dungeons. I've seen 2. And I've been playing since the preseason, so they're pretty rare. But they now drop 500 obols, which is cool. We got a really nice Nightmare Dungeon rotation here as well. If you want to check that out later, I'll leave a link. Experience rewards from completing dungeon events have been increased. More skills will now appear more visually powerful as the skill gains power. Additionally, existing visual scaling has been improved. Lots of cool changes here. We got some bug fixes for the screen reader. A lot of miscellaneous bug fixes here as well. Overall, pretty excited to see these changes here. Yeah, I'm going to be testing out the PTR when it launches, so if you want to check me out when I'm playing live, you don't have access to it yourself and you want me to try something, let me know. I'll be streaming. You can check that down below. I'll leave a link as well to my Twitch channel. But yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, and yeah, join the Discord. Take care, everyone. Peace.